Hey guys, Pawnce here, and today I just want to talk about something slightly different from my usual fare. I actually want to talk about probably my favorite fighter to watch in sort of, I guess, the general fighting industry, as it were, boxing, MMA, and the like. Gennady Golovkin, the middleweight from Kazakhstan, originally anyway. I believe he lives in the U.S. now. But at any rate, before I kind of get into the specifics of sort of why I enjoy watching this guy fight, I should probably mention, I don't want to try and come off as some great boxing expert or something. My training in that is extremely minimal. I don't even watch the hell of a lot of boxing. Um, uh, so I mean, in terms of very specific techniques, I'm not going to be able to go into fine detail or anything like that. But at the very least, I like to think I can sort of understand people, as it were, and just sort of general concepts surrounding fighting. I mean, I've done a few things in my years over the years, but this video is not about me, so let's not worry about me. Um, I'm going to show you guys a clip of him in a second, or one of his small clip from one of his fights. What I really enjoy about him is again, since simply not because I'm not an expert in terms of the techniques, I can see there's a lot of really good things going on there. But what I particularly enjoy, and I find rare, I suppose, is that it essentially seems like within a fighting context, this man either is incapable of fear or experiences it extremely differently from the bulk of the populace. And I find that very interesting because it's a very rare trait. And you run into it every, periodically, but it's not a common thing, even amongst, trained fighters, as it were. You'd think it would be like more common, but it's not. It's just sort of this deep-seated confidence that it's almost like this unshakable solidity. I suppose is that a word? Solidness. Anyway, I'm just going to show you guys the clip. He's going to be the guy on the left here, and it's actually a clip of him being hit, which is the kind of thing I like to actually watch more than anything when I'm assessing a fighter, as it were. But anyway, let's swap over here. So you guys see that? Again, as I was saying, when I like to see what I suppose a fighter is made of, I suppose it's not so much the when he's on the offense and things are going great, or pre-fight bravado and they're talking shit or whatever. It's those moments where either he's not actually losing here. Spoilers, he goes on to just completely dominate that fight, but more so when they're either losing or being hit and their reaction to that. In this guy's case, beyond like the absolute base physiological response to something is flying towards my eye, so I'm going to flinch slightly, kind of thing, or close the eye, so my eye doesn't get hit. There's no hesitation or even sort of a hint of fear, I suppose, in his reaction to that. And that's not the kind, like, if it's faked or pure bravado, or at least partial bravado covering things up, there's going to be a sign of something wrong there's even like a split second of that. It's just, I'm taking this hit, I don't care, and I'm going to kill you after this kind of thing. It's like, and it seems to be a base mentality thing with this guy, and that concept interests me, and I'll get more into that in a second here. But just kind of looking at this scene specifically right here, this is after the fact. This guy, Golovkin, just got hit here on the left a number of times, but looking at the afterwards of the exchange, who looks like they're now pressuring the other guy more, like who came out ahead of that, just looking based purely off this scene we're observing here. There's that. So yeah, anyways, I was saying, the other thing I kind of, it's sort of the concept that sort of ties into this, is in Japanese, we call it tososhin. It's often translated, I think, over here as fighting spirit. And it really feels like this guy, I suppose, embodies that to me, to a great extent. Now, to really simplify things, and you really shouldn't do this, but an east-west dichotomy, if you were to do that, tososhin and fighting spirit, there seems to be slightly different takes on that. Where I guess, again, this oversimplify in an Eastern sense. Tososhin is more sort of like this. It's almost like an innate quality in a person, where it's just like, not necessarily the need to fight, but you are there to fight, kind of thing. That is simply what you do, and it's a very methodical kind of Yeah, well, innate sort of thing. It's not necessarily a case of fighting spirit over here, where a lot of time it kind of gets conflated with bravado. That's its own different thing, which can mask a lot of things. Um, actually, it's sort of interesting. A lot of times, people kind of link me, different fighters or whatnot, and while they're in their kind of machismo speech thing, before fights or interviews or whatever, and they talk really big. And on the surface, it looks like, it's filled with confidence and, a complete lack of fear of any opponent kind of thing. And I'll pick up on something. I really don't know what it is, but it's just like there's something slightly off of what they're saying. Maybe it's just some kind of micro expression or something. I don't know. Like, I haven't been formally trained in this stuff, so I don't know what I'm picking up on exactly. But anyway, let's not worry about what I'm picking up on. It's just like there's something wrong with it. And years later, I'll hear about these guys. They'll have, their meteoric rise to fame after talking shit for all these years, and then everything comes crumbling down because they lose a fight, and they have this like mental collapse, and then there's talk about retiring and all that, and then I'm just sitting there going, yeah, I remember that guy. I haven't been watching his career all this time, but makes perfect sense to me. Like I saw that years ago, sort of thing. In the case of Golovkin, I don't see that at all. It's just like kind of again this it's essentially the look of a I hesitate to phrase it this way, but it's essentially sort of the look of a killer, I suppose, because that makes it sound like he's a terrible person. Like, if we're to use an outmoded, psychology term that doesn't actually mean anything, because it's not actually a term, but proper term. But like, I don't mean he's like a psychopath or anything like that, and he just goes out and murders people. It's just like it's essentially his job to go out there, and so there's this efficient, essentially sort of remorseless, I'm going to destroy you sort of look to him. Sort of, it's pitiless, essentially. Um, Aside from that, so yeah, again, if we're going to go back a little bit to this concept of why I like to look at people when they're essentially when they're being hit and their reactions to that, and sort of this concept that ties into tososhin. Essentially, it's sort of this. It's almost like someone who's truly into that sort of thing would. It's not like that they enjoy being hit. That's wrong. It sounds almost like this creepy masochistic thing, but that's not what I mean by that. It's just essentially like it's an acceptance that you're going to be hit, but it doesn't matter. It's just like, I'm going to get hit and I don't give a fuck kind of thing. And it doesn't necessarily matter whether the guy is better than you or, you're getting beaten. It's just like, these are my dues and I'm going to give it back kind of thing. Again, if we're just sort of, again, kind of look at this scene right here. And again, I don't know this Golovkin guy, so that's why I hesitate to use this killer phrase. I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy in real life. I don't know, but it's not necessarily probably a malicious. I've got hit. There's this berserker response kind of thing. It's this very controlled, almost sort of like instinctual, kind of thing. It's like he's going to get the guy back, sort of attitude to it, and I really find that amusing. What I was always curious about, if we're to kind of consider this sort of concept of individuals, because he's not the only guy, but these sort of individuals that don't seem to have a proper or normal fear reaction to things. I've always wondered if that kind of thing is either a product of upbringing, which I don't think can exclusively explain it, because otherwise, essentially, a lot of fighters in various, boxing, MMA, that kind of stuff, they're gonna have a rather poor background, or really shitty backgrounds, and that's why they end up that kind of thing. And so you'd think more fighters would have this, and a lot of them don't. I would venture to say the bulk don't. I mean, it's obviously to varying degrees. It's a sliding scale. Or if it's if it's an innate thing, which probably it is to an extent. Or which is usually the case, maybe a mix of things. There's an innate quality to certain people where they gravitate towards that kind of mentality, and maybe it's enhanced by a harsher upbringing, as it were. But anyway, I don't really have any concrete thoughts. I'm essentially, if you guys haven't noticed, I'm just kind of free associating and ranting here. But yeah, hopefully you guys kind of maybe enjoyed my thoughts on this general topic. I don't know, just watching this Golovkin guy, sometimes it almost makes me wish I'd tread down a different path in life, but I'm pretty happy where I am with the YouTube and the live streaming. It's a pretty good life too, and also I don't have to suffer brain damage probably later in life. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you've stuck it out up until this point, I don't even know how long this video's been at this point. Probably much too long because I ramble on. But anyways, I'm off to do my usual streaming thing, TV/Pawnce stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you around. Goodbye.